Today's lesson is taking a cruise. Hi, everybody. My name is Roger.
And I'm Mike.
And today we're talking about taking a cruise. Now, we're not talking about taking Tom Cruise home with us so that he can entertain us. In this particular case, we're just going on a cruise ship and taking a trip on that boat to various ports of call. Now, last time, of course, Joe was talking to a travel agent, and he wanted to arrange a 10-day Mediterranean cruise with his family. He wants to take his wife and kids, and, of course, that's in the middle of winter, so, of course, it's a cruise in the Mediterranean. As you said last time, maybe they're going to Italy or Greece or Barcelona, or maybe they're even going down to Tunisia. Who knows? Yeah. Those are all countries around the Mediterranean Sea, and, of course, the travel agent was giving him some advice.
That's right. Now, as we get into today's dialogues, it looks like Joe's made a lot of the big decisions and, most importantly, has paid for everything, because in the first dialogue, we're going to be embarking on the cruise. When you embark on a journey, you begin the journey, or in this more sort of realistic and practical sense, you're getting on the boat, right? So you embark on the airplane at the beginning of the trip, and then when you reach your destination, you disembark or get off. But basically, we're starting the cruise and we're getting on the cruise ship as we embark on the cruise. So let's check it out.
3. Embarking on the cruise. Joe approaches the check-in counter for the cruise. Welcome! May I have your booking information and travel documents, please?
Sure, here they are.
Thank you. Once I get your check-in processed, I'll give you your cruise cards. The cards will serve as your room keys and IDs on the ship, and they'll also let you make onboard payments.
Got it. Is there anything special happening today?
Yes. There's a ship tour at 2 p.m. to help you get familiar with the ship's layout, and then there's a mandatory safety drill at 4:30.
We'll be sure to attend. Anything else?
There's also a welcome party on the upper deck later. Enjoy!
大家好。第一部分介绍动词 embark， 它的意思是上船或是登机。例如 We are scheduled to embark on the cruise at noon. 我们预计中午登上邮轮。或者 Passengers must present their tickets before they can embark. 乘客必须出示机票才能登机。再来看到名词 counter， 表示柜台。例如 Timmy asked for help at the information counter because he got lost. Timmy 因为迷路而在服务台寻求协助。或是 Alan placed several items on the counter and took out his wallet. Alan 把好几样东西放在柜台上，然后拿出钱包。下一个看到名词 document， 它的意思是文件或是公文。例如 Once you sign the documents, the house will officially be yours. 一旦你签署这些文件，这栋房子就正式成为你的了。也可以说I showed my friend Larry the documents that had been sent to me by a lawyer. 我向我的朋友 Larry 出示了一位律师寄给我的文件。接着看到 mandatory 这个单字，它是形容词，意思是强制性的或是必须履行的、法定的。例如 Attendance for this meeting is mandatory. 出席这场会议是强制性的。后面介绍名词 drill， 指的是演习或是训练。举例来说Our lesson today was interrupted by a fire drill. 我们今天的课程因为防火演习而中断了。又或者说 There will be an earthquake drill at the school this afternoon. 今天下午学校将举行地震演习。
Okay, so again, part 3 is about embarking on the cruise. The cruise is about to begin its journey. It's going to begin its voyage. And Joe approaches the check-in counter for the cruise. Okay, so just like when you take a flight someplace, you need to check in, and the place where you check in is the counter. It's a flat area. There's going to be an agent there. You give them your documents, maybe check in some luggage or something. This is the check-in counter for the cruise. And the clerk says, "Welcome! May I have your boarding information and travel documents, please. Okay, so you might have a boarding pass or something, your ticket or whatever. It probably will be on the screen of your phone or something. They'll just scan it or whatever. And also you need to bring your travel documents, which would probably be your passport, but you might have other travel documents like a travel permission or whatever. A document, of course, is something printed out that's official, and of course they recognize it and they allow you to travel to an international destination.
Absolutely. Usually printed on paper. A lot of documents still are, but as Roger said, sometimes these documents are now in your phone in the form of an email or something like that. But basically these official papers, visas and whatnot that you might need to travel safely and legally and not get in trouble when you're trying to cross a border. So Joe's got all that stuff. He says, sure, here they are. So probably 4 passports, one for him, his wife, his kids, any other official papers or documents they need. The clerk says thank you. So they start to go through that. Once I get your check-in processed, I'll give you your cruise cards. Oh, interesting. So once they basically check you in, do all of the different keeping things and paperwork that they need to do to sign you in or register you, as we might say in a hotel. After that, they'll give you your cruise cards, kind of like in a hotel. Of course, you'll need a card to open the door to your room or your cabin. But what else is that? It says the cards will serve as your room keys, okay, and IDs on the ship. And they'll also let you make onboard payments. Yeah, a lot of these ships kind of run like holiday resorts. They don't want people walking around with cash. It's safer that way, less problems with theft or losing your wallet or that kind of thing. And maybe it's also easier to spend more than you expected because it's not real money. It's cruise money. But that's basically what they're doing. So this would be sort of like having an Easy card or something like that. There's money on it, and you just use your card to pay for your food and your drinks and any classes you might take or any shopping that you might do. Well, these are very important things to have, so don't lose them, but they do generally make life easier on board for both the passengers and the crew.
Pretty cool. Your room key, and of course it's your ID, and you can make payments. It's kind of like a little credit card that you can use when you're on the cruise ship. And Joe says, got it, I understand. Is there anything special happening today? So yes, indeed, when you're on a cruise ship, you could expect certain kinds of activities that you could enjoy, a performance, a concert or whatever, maybe a dance or whatever. And the clerk says, yes. There's a ship tour at 2 p.m. to help you get familiar with the ship's layout. And then there's a mandatory safety drill at 4:30. So yes, indeed, if you're on a cruise ship, you need to know where things are. If you stay in a hotel, it's pretty straightforward. The lobby is on the first floor or the ground floor, and then your room is on one of the upper floors, and then the cafeteria where you have your breakfast is a certain room. It's pretty easy, but a cruise ship is much larger. They have all sorts of facilities that you need to know about. So they'll take you on a tour of the boat to show you the layout. The layout, of course, is just where things are located so that you know where they are and that you can find them without getting lost.
Yeah, these boats can be big, and often you're walking down hallways without windows, right? If you're on the inside of the boat, it can be very, very easy to get lost, very easy to lose your way. Where's my room, and where's the dining room, and how do I get to the swimming pool deck and that kind of thing? So this is a good thing to know. They will have maps in other places, and who knows, they might even have apps today on your phone that show you where you are. But then also there's something very important, a mandatory safety drill. If something is mandatory, that probably automatically means it's important because you have to do it. Everyone has to do it. This isn't voluntary where you stick up your hand and say, oh, I'd like to do that. No, this is where you must do it. It's mandatory to pay your taxes, that kind of thing. Even if you don't want to, you have to do it. So you have to do this safety drill. Drill here is not the sort of tool that you use to make holes in things. No, this is more like a practice or a rehearsal. When we talk about a drill, usually that's done for some kind of safety reasons to make sure things are organized and people know what to do in important or even dangerous situations. Of course, the biggest danger on a boat is the boat sinking, and unless you want to turn it into your own version of Titanic, you want to be in one of the lifeboats and not floating on a door with Rose and Jack. So basically, they're going to show you if you hear an alarm alarm. Even in the middle of the night, there's a fire on the boat has hit something and is sinking, there's danger, and you need to get off. They will tell you where to go. Everyone has an assigned place. They'll count you. They'll make sure that everyone is there. And this is really, really important because, again, this could happen in the middle of the night. The boat could be full of smoke. Who knows? Panic is very easy and a very easy thing to happen. You want to avoid that. So go to that, listen carefully, kind of like the safety drill or the safety instruction on an airplane, but much more important. So Joe says, we'll be sure to attend. We will definitely be there. Make sure the kids know what to do as well. Anything else, he says? And the clerk says there's also a welcome party on the upper deck later. Enjoy. So a welcome party, like a cocktail party, drinks and some snacks, and that will just kind of allow the passengers to get to know each other, meet some of the crew, and, settle into having a really good time on the holiday that they're about to embark on.
It's a great way to kick off the cruise. You can mingle with the other passengers and the crew, and you'll be ready for a great time. In this particular case, a great time during that cruise on the Mediterranean. Okay, let's go on now to talk about those excursions. We're inquiring about excursions in part 4. Let's listen.
4. Inquiring about excursions.
Joe asks about the upcoming port stop at the ship's excursion desk.
Good morning. I'd like some information about excursions at the stop in Barcelona tomorrow. Of course! We have a variety of options, from wine and food tours to more family-friendly outings. I recommend the guided tour of Sagrada Familia and Park Güell. It's perfect for families. That sounds great. Is it best to book through the ship? Yes, booking through us guarantees you'll return in time for departure. Here's a map of Barcelona with major attractions, shopping areas, and local restaurants marked. Thanks. Anything else I should know? The local currency is euros, tipping isn't mandatory, and public transportation is very reliable for getting around.
第二部分看到动词 inquire 表示询问、打听或是查询。例如 Dale inquired about the job that he saw online. Dale 查询了他在网络上看到的那份工作。也可以说 Harold emailed to inquire about the company's refund policy. Harold 透过电子邮件询问该公司的退货政策。最后看到 departure 这个单字，它是名词，表示出发、启程或是离开。我们可以说 We must delay our departure until the storm leaves the area. 我们必须延后出发，直到暴风雨离开这个区域。最后一个例子 The train's time of departure has been delayed by 30 minutes. 火车启程的时间延迟了30分钟。
So here in part 4, we are inquiring about excursions. To inquire just means to ask about something to get some information. And yes, indeed, Joe wants to get some information about those excursions, those little trips you can take from the boat in the port that the boat is docked at. And you can go look around and see what's there. You can check out a market or go to a museum or whatever. Yeah, he wants to ask about the upcoming port stop at the ship's excursion desk. Okay, so there's a desk that arranges those kinds of things. You go talk to them and arrange some kind of excursion on shore.
All right, so Joe goes in there and he wants to get some information. Good morning, he says. I'd like some information about excursions at the stop in Barcelona tomorrow. All right, now, of course, everyone on the cruise will have an itinerary, a schedule of where the boat will be at different days and often what things to do, or at least how long you'll have to do them in a beautiful location like Barcelona, which Roger mentioned is a great place to stop in the Mediterranean. The clerk says, of course I can give you information about that. That's my job. We have a variety of options. We have many choices from wine and food tours, very interesting, but maybe not so fun for the little kids, to more family-friendly outings. Okay, this is something that, they were like 12 and 8 years old, right? Joe's kids. Probably not too interested in the wine and cheese tour or something like that, but family-friendly outings to the beach or to an amusement park or children's museum or something like that. Family-friendly just meaning not so much family friendly, but kid friendly. Basically something both the parents and the kids can have fun doing. And they have a few recommendations, and I think we've actually talked about some of these places over the years. I recommend the guided tour of Sagrada Familia and Park Güell. It's perfect for families. So there you go. Go to central Barcelona, see that beautiful, famous, and slightly weird cathedral they've been building there for like 100 years or something, Sagrada Familia, and of course Park Güell, two very beautiful, interesting, and famous places right there in the middle of Barcelona. And as he says, it's perfect for families. The kids can run around in the park. It's got some really interesting architecture and design and decoration, so it'll be good fun for everyone.
It does look like a beautiful place to go, though. Yep. And Joe says that sounds great. Okay, that guided tour of that big cathedral and that wonderful park does sound like a great idea. Is it best to book through the ship? So should I make this reservation through you guys, or should I go online and make arrangements with some local touring agencies or whatever? Yeah, how should I book this tour? How should I make a reservation?
Yeah, and the clerk says, yes, booking through us, through the ship, using our service here, guarantees you'll return in time for departure. Okay, because the bus or whoever's driving you from the boat into town, they have the schedule too. They will make sure you're back in time for the departure. Departure is when you leave. So the boat will be leaving at 6 p.m., and the tour bus that you can take with us or organized by us, it will be sure to have you back here by 5:30. So even if there's a small delay for some reason, you won't miss the boat. If you do it on your own, that's fine. But if you end up having too much of a good time in Park Güell or on that wine tour and you lose track of the time, the boat could leave and then you'll have to fly to the next destination. They're not waiting for you. Here's a map of Barcelona, the clerk says, with major attractions, shopping areas, and local restaurants marked. Often they'll have planned tours of the places like the cathedral, but then they might have an hour or two for you to go off and do your own shopping or get your own lunch and that kind of thing. So you do have a bit of freedom, but of course stay organized because you don't want to miss the boat.
That's right. So you're guaranteed to get back in time for a departure. You won't get left behind. And then, of course, he's going to give Joe a map of Barcelona, and it shows the major attractions where you can go shopping and you can have a nice meal in a restaurant there.
Some nice tapas.
It does sound pretty cool. Maybe you can even see a bullfight. And Joe says, thanks. Anything else I should know? Or is there anything else I should know? And the clerk says, the local currency is euros, and tipping isn't mandatory, and public transportation is very reliable for getting around.
That's good
so
to
this
know.
is some useful information here. Of course, if you want to spend money in Barcelona, do you need to change money? And what's the currency that they use in Barcelona? Well, they use euros there. If you go to Europe, I think you can use euros pretty much everywhere, except for the UK. They're not part of the EU, so you have to use pounds there in the UK. But if you're in Spain and France and Germany and places like that, you're going to be using the euro. And this is really great here. Tipping isn't mandatory. Okay, tipping, of course, means you leave a little extra money on the table for the person who's waiting on you. I hate this about the United States. You always have to leave a tip. Even convenience store clerks are asking for tips. It's getting really ridiculous. That's why I love Taiwan so much, because tipping is not done and it's not expected. But in Barcelona, it's the same. It isn't mandatory, which means you don't have to, but I suppose you could leave a tip if you want to. And also, when you get around the town, you need to rely on public transportation, maybe the subway or the metro, and of course you could take buses. Yes, the public transportation is very reliable, it's dependable, and of course you use that transportation to get around.
That's right, to go to different places as you're traveling around downtown. If there are special places you want to go that are a little bit further from, maybe the most famous downtown areas like the Sagrada Familia, so it's reliable. You don't have to worry about being ripped off or robbed. The taxi service is safe. All of that stuff is very reliable, safe, and easy, yes, to move yourself around, to go to different places, and also to get yourself back to the boat on time to enjoy the rest of your wonderful cruise.
Yeah, I'm kind of inspired to take a cruise myself. Not to the Mediterranean. It's kind of cold this time of year. But, hey, I could probably see taking a local tour here out of Geelong to go to Okinawa or Japan or Singapore. That sounds like a lot of fun. Okay, we're at the end of our discussion for today. Here comes our Chinese teacher, Hanny.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文第二部分对话的小标题是 Inquiring about excursions， 询问岸上观光行程。那么动词 inquire 它就表示询问、打听、查询。我们来学它的字首字根，看到 quest quest 或者是拼作 quer 还有 qui 这一类字根，它就有寻找、询问的意思。在 inquire 这个字当中，它的字首 in 表示进入，字根 quire 表示询问。那进去里面询问，进入其中去寻找答案，这样应该很容易联想到 inquire 它有询问、调查或打听的语义。我们也补充两个有相同字根的单字，第一个是 acquire， 它的字首 ac 是来自 ad， 在这边做强调用。quire 表示寻找或是获得，那合在一起 acquire 就是表达获得、得到、习得。这通常是指靠自己的努力逐渐培养、习得某种新的技能、能力等等。第二个补充的是 require， 它的字首 re 表示一再，字根 quire 表示求取，一再的求取应该很容易联想到 require 它有要求、需要的意思。接着对话里面的 Joe 他想要了解一下明天停靠巴塞隆纳的观光行程，那么接待员向他说明之后呢，有提醒他当地的货币是欧元，小费不是强制性的，而且大众运输非常可靠，适合到处走走。那文中他用到 get around 来表达到处走走，我们这边来整理一下 get around 的不同用法。第一个 get around 它可以表达到处走走、四处游览，那这时候可以当及物或者是不及物用。例如 It's convenient to get around the city by tram， 搭有轨电车在那个城市里四处移动很方便。那么第二个 get around 做及物用的时候，可以指避开或是规避的意思，像是 They found a loophole to get around the rules， 他们找到漏洞来规避那些规定。第三个我们可以用到 get around to 加上名词或动名词，这可以指说找到时间或找到机会去做某事，那通常是某一件早就想做却没时间或没机会做的事。举例来说 I've been meaning to visit them, but I just haven't gotten around to it。 我一直有打算要去拜访他们，但就是没找到时间或没找到机会去做这一件事情。好，那么以上今天重点整理，我们回顾今天的单字吧。
Counter. Lynn placed her order at the counter and waited. Document. Please sign the document and return it by email. Drill. The drill helped the team prepare for any unexpected situations. Departure. Passengers should arrive at the airport 2 hours before departure.
Well, that brings us to the end of another edition of our program, and please make sure you join us again next time. From all of us here, I am Roger.
I am Mike.
See you next time.